Good people can have their great intentions manipulated. This whole fear and hate in the name of the right thing needs to stop. But how we get there is there's nowhere I can go to find safety. Whenever we say, I'm my own God, I have nowhere to turn to. I have no one to help me. I'm on my own. And that's exactly what the enemy likes. Hello, I am back with another video about renewing our mind. I wanted to give a little context here about why I'm sharing these videos as well as the music videos. This page is all about experiencing God and getting to know Him a little bit more through music. But I also felt to share videos on renewing your mind. That way you don't just hear what I'm getting from God in this music, but also you can shape your mind to be able to hear God for yourself in those songs, in any song. Well, not any song, but you know what I mean. But I want to keep moving forward. The last video I talked about the filter of the mind, right? What I put into my mind in order to form a filter or a perspective through which I take information in through. So this video is called The Filter Gone Wrong, or what happens when I'm not intentional to stand for anything. There's a really great quote in the musical Hamilton saying, if you stand for nothing, Burr, what do you fall for? And the character of Aaron Burr, who is actually a human, right? He didn't stand for anything. So he did the things that were best for him in order to survive, in order to get by. And it didn't go well for him. And I think that's a really great example about what might happen if we don't stand for anything and we just do what's best for us. The problem is when we don't have any moral standards or believe in an absolute truth, it just causes a lot of unrest and confusion in the world because I don't know what to do with myself and I don't really know how to find peace, and there's no set of rules or structure that I can find peace in. And I think what happens is everyone's just kind of doing what's best for them, and inherently it's self-focused, and it creates this chaos in the world. And I believe probably the majority of the modernized society is like this, right? Because there's been so much corruption in organized religion that people have kind of become their own set of morality. And it even might sound nice, if you've been hurt by a church, or if you've, experienced abusive leadership. A lot of people then go far off in the other direction. They find spirituality through New Age, and then they're like, wait, I am my own God. I am divine. They start manifesting whatever is best for them. Again, the root of this is what's best for them, and it's not going to help the world as a whole. Okay. The problem with this is the root of this is also pride. So if I lead by my pride and I make choices based on my own understanding, I'm actually going to be influenced. I allow myself to be influenced now by the world. Humans are highly influenceable beings, and we don't realize that we are easily puppeted if we don't stand for something. This is exactly what the higher up influencers in life, want. They want people to be controllable. They don't want anyone standing on any set of rules, because if they don't stand for anything, they're going to need help. And you know who can help? Those leaders, right? But if you look at history over and over and over again, those dictators start out as helping meet a need until then they go from helping to control. Even think about this, if I'm in a river and the river is just moving, right? Rivers go. And if I don't have a hold on to something as my standard, or in the Bible it says a plumb line, there's something I'm holding on to. If I don't have anything to even care about or hold on to or believe, I'm going to just go off in that river and find myself somewhere that I never thought I would be, because I'm a good person. But good people can have their great intentions manipulated. My main point is, if I don't choose a standard, if I don't stand for anything and instead I just do what's best for me and I put my head down, then my standard is going to be chosen for me. And I'm going to slowly drift and just react according to what is being fed to me, being fed to my eyes, being fed to my ears. because I'm not choosing that, because I'm not like intentionally feeding myself, you know, in this case, like the word of God, if I don't actually read what's in there, even if I call myself a Christian, I'm going to actually be very influenced by the things that I am taking in. And I'm going to actually start beholding that, and I'm going to start becoming that. We have neurons in our brain that seek community, right? We don't want to be lonely. We want to be accepted. So if I'm looking at these things in the way that my friends are, and what they're saying and what they're reacting to and what the world's telling me I should do, like this is exactly how commercials work. If I respond with what's best for me, I'm going to be puppeted by someone who is trying to control me, and I won't even know it. I will think that I'm making my own decisions, but I'm not. Quick testimony, when I lived in New York City during the beginning of COVID, I had COVID. I experienced what that was like. It was awful, but you know what else I experienced? I experienced 2 times walking down the street outside, getting screamed at, verbally shamed, abusive, hate speech that I would kill my mother because I was not wearing a mask, and another man in the subway literally screaming at me, saying like I hated human beings, that I wanted to kill people because I wasn't wearing a mask. And obviously these people were riddled in fear, but does that sound like the right thing? Screaming at someone and saying things like that. This whole fear and hate in the name of the right thing needs to stop. But how we get there is there's nowhere I can go to find safety. You know, the enemy has effectively disarmed people from their God and said, you're your own God. But you know what happens whenever we say, I'm my own God? I have nowhere to turn to. I have no one to help me. I'm on my own. And that's exactly what the enemy likes. So that's what's been happening. Here's a few examples just to end this off of how people were influenced without realizing it because they didn't choose a standard. First, biggest one is Nazi Germany. These people did not set out to become mass murderers, but they allowed themselves, because they didn't stand on anything, they allowed themselves to be influenced by the media, by this charismatic leader. The Nazis would take current injustices and channel them for their own agenda. So the people were agreeing with like, this is an injustice, and now I better support this because I agree with that. And slowly and steadily, they got brainwashed because they didn't stand for anything. And another thing, I want to talk just quick modern day example. Let's talk about what we've been seeing in Israel and the atrocities of what's been happening to children and families and babies over there. You know, that's horrendous. Yet, the same people, the same mouths that are calling that horrendous and unjust are watching the next Saw movie, going and funding entertainment, watching torture, but we're justifying it because it's not real. But it's because we're not thinking about it. Like, I used to be the same way. Like I said, the Saw movies, because there is something like really intriguing and dark about it that like I went down that road when I stood for nothing. I was able to watch them, and it was like kind of like, oh my gosh, but then you justify it because you're like, this isn't real. Well, you know what? This is real to some people, and it's incredibly kind of disgusting that we're funding this when someone's actually been tortured and being tortured. So the same people who are like saying how awful it is what's happening in the Middle East, we're now glorifying this. We crave it, thinking there's nothing wrong with it. But I don't know, just think about it. Like, why is this okay when this isn't? It's because we don't stand for anything. We don't think critically about anything. We don't question. Well, this is kind of disturbing, you know, a little bit. You know, a little bit, if you think about it. I also want to share that, like, I'm not coming to you as someone who has always believed the same thing. I actually didn't. I used to believe radically different things. I believed in reincarnation for a hot second. I believed, like, my political views and mindsets have shifted from here to here. So I'm not saying, like, this is how it is. I've experienced both sides. So take that for what it's worth. But to each his own, you know, believe what you want, but stand on something, because if you stand for nothing, what will you fall for? And you won't even see it. You won't even know. You just did what sounded right and what was best for you without question. So We need to learn to question everything and choose something to stand on. And I'm here to tell you, I've chosen Jesus and the Word of God, and He has served me well. But make your choice. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, won't you like and subscribe for me?